There's 15 doctors standing around her yelling, why won't the baby's vocal cords open? And my husband is yelling back at them, my wife's cords don't open. But what we have is so rare. Literally, of the 5 hospitals, and we went to some big ones, only one doctor, the guy in Cincinnati, has ever seen genetic vocal cord paralysis. Vocal cord paralysis is not rare. The brain stem controls vocal cord function. An injury to the brain stem, cancer of the brain stem, an injury or trauma to the vocal cords can cause vocal cord paralysis. For it to be caused by a rare genetic mutation is incredibly, incredibly rare. Now, the doctors had never seen it. It was brutal. When my daughter was born, for me, it was one of the hardest times in my life. She's in the NICU. It was hours before they let me see her. They finally wheel me in. She's sedated. She's on a ventilator. Now you have to understand her cords are touching, so they wedged a tube in between there, and that tube is keeping her alive. And I reached over and I touched her leg, and a nurse came literally running over and said, Mrs. Worath, we'd appreciate it if you did not do that. I was not permitted to touch her. I'm not coming down on the hospital. They were correct. But they were afraid that if I moved her, that tube would come out. And they didn't even understand what she had. Now, they extubated twice, meaning they removed that ventilator tube twice to see if she could breathe on her own. And after that second extubation, so what would happen is that tube was wedged. So as they're pulling the tube out, there's a small gap where it was sitting there. But after 2-3 hours, it would close again. So after the second time, I literally stood in a NICU full of doctors and yelled at them. I'm like, what are you waiting for? She needs a trach. And they said, Mrs. Worath, we've never had a parent ask for a trach. I said, well, you've never had a parent who's had a trach. I said, what are you waiting for? They're like, we're waiting for her vocal cords to move. I said, well, I've been waiting 34 years and they still don't move. I said, I don't know what happened or why it happened. I said, but I have to get her home. She's not coming home like this. Put a trach in and I will get her home. And they put the trach in, she was fine. And that is the thing with this genetic abnormality. There is no other abnormality other than lack of vocal cord function. So people with vocal cord paralysis, like, they told my parents they didn't know if I had brain damage. They didn't know what was causing it's a gene. So when my daughter was 3 months old, well, I get her home. Okay. I have nursing care for her. My home looked like a hospital. I had air compressors. I had pulse ox machines. I had nursing care for her. But the interesting thing was, for me, I remembered it all. Like, I wasn't afraid of the trach because I remembered it. I was more like thrown by the baby stuff. Like, how often do I feed her? And the nurses thought it was so interesting because I'm like, I had all this stuff. I mean, my stuff was made of different stuff, but it was the same stuff.